Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today, me, Lutfi, and my friend Adele, we are going to explain about the government and society in early Middle Ages.
The growth of government. William the Conqueror ruled by traveling with no fixed capital. His mobile court was costly for locals. As the kingdom expanded, this system became impractical, leading to the creation of permanent administration in Westminster. By 1920, royal officials began managing tax, justice, and record. The king increasingly relied on tax rather than on feudal dues. By Edward's time, writer documents and official seals become common, showing the rapid growth of government bureaucracy.
Law and justice. The development of law and justice in medieval England after the Norman conquest. Justice was handled locally by nobles, mixing Norman and Saxon laws. Serious crimes were judged in the king's court. Henry once declared all crimes breach of the king's peace, making justice a royal matter. He introduced traveling judges to ensure consistent legal practice across the kingdom. By the 12th century, under Henry II, judges regained legal expertise, leading to the development of common law, a unified system based on custom and previous rulings. This system influenced legal tradition in many former British colonies. Trial by ordeal and combat were replaced by trial by jury after 1215. Early juries helped prove innocence, but gradually evolved to judge evidence. This shift led to the rise of law schools in the 13th century to guide untrained juries and support the growing legal system. Ordinary people in country and town. In 1066, England has 1.5 to 2 million people, with 19% living in the countryside. Life in rural areas was hard, with simple homes and diet based mainly on grains and vegetables. Most people were served under the feudal manorial system, working their lord's land and exchange for protections. Though this varied regionally, serfs were tied to the land and had few rights. The population tripled by 1300s, leading to food shortage and increased poverty. The Normans, who intensified the manorial system, were blamed for many hardship, and tension between them and the Saxons remained strong. Legends like Robin Hood grew from this resentment. Landlords began renting land for money rather than demanding labor, leading to the term farm. From the Latin firma, this shift caused small landowners to struggle, especially as prices and military costs rose. Many peasants took on other trades, and surnames after often came from these professions. The Jewish community played a role in lending money, especially to knights. When knights could not repay their debts, land transferred to wealthier lords, weakening the knightly class. In 1290, Edward I expelled the Jews, partly to appease public anger and curb noble power. Feudalism declined, benefiting large landlords while making peasants poorer. Many landless people migrate to town in search of better opportunities. The growth of towns as center of wealth. During the Middle Ages, England was mainly an agricultural society, though even urban dwellers often farmed small plots. Despite self-sufficiency, England engaged in both internal and international trade. While internal trade was poorly recorded, international trade was well documented due to royal custom taxes. Trade shifted from the Low Countries and Scandinavia in the Anglo-Saxon period to France and the Low Countries after the Norman conquest, with wool becoming the most important export. English wool was of high quality and highly profitable, heavily taxed by the king. The wool trade connected town with the countryside, with traders buying wool in village and transporting it to the towns for export. Foreign merchants also attended large English fairs. The rise of trade weakened feudal restrictions, allowing townspeople to gain independence. Many towns were granted charters by kings, freeing them from local lords in exchange for money. These towns managed their own courts and taxes, laying the foundation for a middle class and capitalist economy. Guilds play a central role in town's life. Merchant guilds formed in the 13th century, regulated trade, and often provided town leaders. Entry into guilds became increasingly restricted in the 14th century. Craft guilds developed, representing specific trades. This guild ensured quality and fair pricing. In London, the wealthiest guild evolved into powerful livery companies, which still influence the governance of the City of London today.
religious beliefs. At the village level, the church was closely tied to local lords, with priests often fairly educated, married, and from peasant background. Although the church tried to assert authority and ban forced marriage, it had limited success at first. Over time, especially by the late 13th century, unmarried priests became the norm. Economic hardship led many to join monasteries which offered food, shelter, and education. By 1300, the number of religious houses had grown from 50 in 1066 to about 900, housing around 17,500 monks and nuns. The 13th century also saw the rise of priests wandering priests who focused on helping the poor spiritually, in contrast to the wealthy monasteries and cathedrals. Language, literature, and culture. The growth of literacy in England was closely linked to the 12th century Renaissance, a cultural movement that began in Italy and spread north through trade routes, reaching England by the century's end. This intellectual revolution encouraged the examination of religious belief through reason. As a result, schools were established in many towns and cities, some independent grammar schools and others connected to cathedral. All schools taught Latin, the universal language of education and literature in Europe, which helped spread knowledge. Despite potential risk, the church played a leading role in this intellectual movement.
That's all from us. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.